You're launching. Prepare for the marathon and not the sprint. Hello, everyone. I'm Tessa with the marketing team at IdeaPros, and I have Fred Cary, who is CEO at IdeaPros. Hello, Fred. Thank you so much. We've missed you. We've missed you being on our shows. We've had a lot of amazing guests, but I'm always glad when we get to bring Fred back onto our weekly shows. So today we're talking about the launch process and really looking at the big picture, that marathon, and not just thinking of it as a sprint. So Fred, I know you have a lot to tell us about this, but before we go into that, I just want to say thank you guys all so much. I see you in the chats. #live if you're watching us live, and #replay if you're watching it another time. It helps me to tell if we need to adjust what time we're going live. So let me know if you are watching the replay. Hello. Hi, Irene, Reem, Ivan, Kelly, Abel. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Bongo. Hey, Bongo. Victoria, Gloria. Thank you, guys. Okay, Fred, now I'm going to give you this stage.
Okay. So this is something for every entrepreneur, no matter what you're starting, no matter what type of business you're going into, anything from the medical profession to the greatest, latest app there is. It's a journey, right? And this came to mind for two reasons. One, I always have, and I don't like talking about IdeaPros at these shows. I like to keep it general so everybody can take advantage of it. But these things really are something that everybody should be mindful of and should be aware of if they're going to go into the entrepreneurial journey. You know, they say it's the only place where people give up a perfectly good 40-hour job to work 80 hours a week without pay. And so that kind of tells you that you have to break the rules, you have to beat the odds, you have to do things that are extraordinary all the time in order to win this race. And that's why it's not a sprint. That's why it's a marathon. So the two reasons are, one, there's always a subset of people. It's a thankfully very small subset, but it's a subset of people that work with me that think I'm going to make them successful and they don't have to do anything. That just by partnering with me, they're going to be hugely successful. And if things take 3 months or 6 months or a year, it's just always way too much time because they want to be this multimillionaire without doing anything. And then the other factor is we have a whole bunch of things launching right now in IdeaPros. We have 50 apps. We had 15 go out a couple of weeks ago. We have another 3 a day going out till they hit their 50 number. We have a similar thing happening with our physical products. A total, I think, of 52 are going out here, have been going out and going live here over the next few weeks. That's a lot of people and a lot of stuff and a lot of dreams, right? And I want to just get everybody's head straight on what it takes to be successful. And it's not me. I can't make anybody successful. I can help every single person that I work with, and anybody that comes here and listens to our show or goes on Instagram and gets advice. I can help you have what I call an unfair advantage. But ultimately, the only person that can make you successful is the person that you look in the mirror and see every single morning. And if you don't have that mindset to believe in yourself, you're going to have the mindset to blame somebody else. You either really believe, or if you don't have it, you blame. Because if you don't believe, you're not going to do the things that are necessary to do to be successful. And therefore, the easy thing to do is to blame everybody around you, everybody that helped you, everybody that you saw on TV or watched here, or the guy whose course you bought for $500 that was going to turn your life upside down. The fundamental difference between successful entrepreneurs and other people is sacrifice. The ability to wake up in the morning, you know, and you run into a wall and you get all bloodied, and you wake up and you run into that wall again, not believing that you were too weak, but believing that you didn't run hard enough. Instead of, shit, I shouldn't be running into walls, right? It really is that type of mentality, that type of belief system, that type of self-assurance that's going to get you to the finish line, that's going to have you win that marathon. And I've talked before about companies, well, like Google, for example, you know, and I mentioned it took them 10 years to start making money. And that's a huge example, but they were a tiny little company. And it shows you how successful you can be when you don't quit too early, when you don't give up, when you don't wake up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, what are you doing? You can't do this. When you start populating your essence with disbelief and self-doubt, that's what's going to crush you, and that's what's going to crush your dream, and that's what's going to have you play the blame game with everybody else. So on the good news side of it, I'm here. Our team is here. If you're an IdeaPros partner, if you're one of those many that are launching right now, we're your partner. We're going to be with you through thick and thin. And we're going to run into walls together, and we're both going to bloody our heads, and we're going to run into the damn wall a little harder next time. But if you're an entrepreneur and you're on your own, don't give up. Don't listen to what people tell you. Don't let people tell you you're crazy and do anything with that other than carry this badge of honor. Yeah, I'm crazy. That's why I'm going to change the world.
I love it. I love it. And there is, I mean, it's a marathon that you can prepare for because there are things that you can be doing in that you can be getting your ducks in a row. You can make sure that you have a really strong marketing, you know, all the things that you can prepare in this process, you can do ahead of time, you know, make sure you've trained. There's lots of things. So a lot of the information that we have on our website, we're going to be launching a resources page. If you guys haven't taken advantage of looking at some of those resources, please do, because there's lots in there for the launch process now, because we have so many people who are launching right now. We're going to have a show in the next couple of weeks about beta testing, how to build your beta test group, and that's for products and apps. So lots more coming. But I know, Fred, you know, this is one of those subjects that I know people are, you know, they're not ready to hear that it's going to take a lot to launch, you know, if they've spent a lot of time. So would you have some more advice for them as far as what to do right now if they are about to launch?
Yeah, forget about everything that you just said. That's just, well, I'll tell you why. That's the nuts and bolts. We give you an unfair advantage. If you're working with us, we give you an unfair advantage. In fact, there are a lot of free resources we give. We give every entrepreneur an advantage. But those are nuts and bolts. Those nuts and bolts won't build your house. They won't build your car. They won't have you win a race. And that's why hopefully nobody is disappointed in hearing that you have to be an extraordinary person to win the race. You have to not only train, not only get your nuts and bolts together, not only have the right tools, the right sneakers, the right type of breathing and training, you have to have the heart. Because if you don't have the heart, all the things that Tessa talked about, they're not going to matter, because it's just a playbook. And you can look at this playbook and you get all your tools and you can line up your marketing. But what happens when that marketing doesn't work? What happens when you've gone down a path working with certain influencers and that didn't pan out for you? Or you set out an advertising campaign and you were expecting a certain result and that didn't happen? Or you had a whole bunch of people look at your product and it was kind of a lukewarm reception. Those things happen to all of us, and it's no training, no nothing that's going to make that successful. It's only the heart, the mindset, the belief in yourself. Every product that you can look at that is really successful, the likelihood is that's not the first version. The likelihood is there were stumbling going on before it was successful. And that's part of the process. That's the learning experience. And the reason I'm talking to you guys about this is that when people have these things happen to them, they start filling themselves up with self-doubt. Should I have done this? Was this the right thing for me? Should I have stuck with my 9-to-5 job? And if you can't get rid of that, if you can't shake off that self-doubt, you will be back at your 9-to-5 job. And 22% of businesses that start fail in the first year. And a lot of them fail for many reasons. Well, the first reason is there's no market for them. I spoke about that before. But the second reason is there's no passion. There's no passion there's expectation. And when you have this expectation instead of this passion, I'm climbing Mount Everest and I'm going to make it to the top. If instead you have this expectation, hey, I invented my golden widget, so everybody's going to come running and buying millions of dollars worth of them, you're going to lose. Okay. So you need to be well-trained, right? Talking about a marathon, you need to be well-trained. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know where you're going to run into invisible wall in the marathon, real wall you're launching, and you need to know how to get up and keep going. And when you find yourself looking at anybody else but you and argue about the speed things are taking, you know, hey, I was live for a month, I've only sold 6 of these. When you start looking outward for those explanations, you can't fix what the issues are. Only by taking responsibility, only by taking ownership, only by being that business owner, that CEO that you were born to be, will you work on and find and fix what the issues are so you can get to the next level, so you can make it happen, so you can really do things that are going to make you a lot of money and me a lot of money if you're working with me. But even if you're not, are going to make you start living the life you want to live, because you have the fortitude and the belief system to make that keep happening, no matter what the ups, no matter what the downs are, throughout your business career. Because even if people have become very successful, the downside with being really successful is everybody wants to copy you. All these Chinese knockoffs, if you have a physical product and you're on Amazon, all of a sudden there's going to be 100 Chinese knockoffs trying to mimic what you're doing at a lower price. So this is even worse than a marathon, really. It's a gladiator battle, and you either win or you're on the floor of the Coliseum. It's just a continuing battle to better yourself, to better your product, get up version 2, version 3, listen to what your consumers are telling you, look at the feedback. If you're getting some bad reviews, obviously respond to them, but take that as kind of your own training of what you can do to make your product better. You know, always understand that you're going to have to continue to create. That first thing that you're going to create is just the first of many things that you're going to create. And every single product that you have is going to have a life cycle. It's going to start out like this. It's going to gain momentum. It's going to really start building. And then it's going to reach a point in its life cycle where it becomes mature. And your growth is not going to be able to be that high. And there will be a time in that curve when it starts going back down as your product goes into obsolescence. So as you're starting to go up that curve, yeah, take out the bottle of champagne, but then sit down with your books and think about, okay, I got from here to here. And then after that, I'm going to start going down to what can I create now to be my next thing? You know, it's the belief system that this wasn't happenstance that you came up with something. This wasn't lucky that you came up with an app idea, a product idea, that you suffered for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years in that 9-to-5 job. This wasn't just some miracle that you came up with one thing. You have the brain, you have the essence, you have the spirit to be an entrepreneur. And so that means there are more products inside of you. There are more apps inside of you. There's the next generation of whatever it is that you are launching, whatever it is that you are creating, whatever it is that you are building to the next level. There's more inside of you, and you have to tap into that. Don't be complacent. Don't sit back and just watch your revenues increase. Start building up your battle plan for how you're going to handle the competitors that are going to come, how you're going to evolve your product so your consumers will be really happy, how to win their hearts and minds and have them become passionate advocates of what you have, so that your next product they're going to flock to. This is a battle of one. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying WON. Of one. Okay. The battle is inside of you. The tools you've already been given. You have the sword. You have the shield. You have the playing field. And it's your heart and your fortitude and your belief in yourself That's the battle of one that you have to overcome in order to make this happen. Make sense?
It does. It does. Thank you so much. I know we've got so many comments going, and you went through so many different things. I just have to point out that we have, it was Katie. I know that she said she already did do a marathon, and this is actually harder being an entrepreneur. So I just have to give Katie a shout out, because I see her almost every one of her lives is like a combination of working out. So Katie, yes, this is harder. I know we had a lot of people that were talking about you have to have the passion. This is starter app. You have to have the passion and drive to finish this marathon over and over. And he can't wait till we get the starting guns firing for starter app. So all of these are amazing comments. Thank you guys so much for being here. Fred said, Odin wants to say, you're on a roll and throwing golden pearls. Thank you for your experience. And this is what needs to be heard right now. So awesome stuff. Exclusive content is what Hector says. This is great. Thank you so much, Fred. And
Wow.
I am going to keep talking with a couple of you guys over there on the chat as well, and let Fred go, because I know he's got lots.
Wait, what time is it?
No, it's 20 after. I know, it went by so fast.
For 20 minutes?
If you have time, if you can stay with me for another 5 minutes or so, would that work, Fred?
Yeah, and you said a bunch of people are going to be disappointed, and hopefully there aren't any other than you. Look.
Say that. They're not going to be disappointed.
You actually used that word. I've told everybody many times that we all have one thing in common as entrepreneurs, right? We're failures and we're crazy. Okay, we're failures, again, as I said it before, because nothing's right the first time. And if you've been through the painful starter app, he's ready to go. I think he's one of the ones that are getting ready to launch and going into testing. It's been a couple of year journey. Fortunately, with this particular app, which is really going to be something incredible, the pandemic kind of helped, because I don't even really like that sentence, but some of the use of the app wouldn't be so useful in everything that we've gone through with homeschooling and everything else over the last year. So there's a perfect example of how something disastrous affects your timeline, and here he is ready for the starting gun to go off, right? It's all about your attitude. It's all about understanding the fact that things are going to come. The waves are going to try to drown you, and there are things both expected and unexpected that are going to occur. The expected things, at least in my book, I expect them. A lot of first-time entrepreneurs don't. There's going to be problems with engineering. When you get your manufacturing, some of the things aren't going to be right. There may be delays in shipping. The prototype you get gets crushed by the time you get it. And Bill had that problem with his. There are things that are expected failures in the system, and that's part of creating something that doesn't exist. And then there are the unexpected things, like the pandemic. Like there could be some sort of a national strike in some country if you're selling in Europe. There are things outside of your control that you could never expect, but they're going to happen. And when they happen, again, it all boils down to that battle of one. And you have to believe in yourself. The second part, besides the failure, it was the crazy part. And again, I've talked about this before. You're crazy because everybody says you are. You're crazy because your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your kids or your parents keep reminding you that they said you should stay in school or they should stay in your 9-to-5 job. God, can you imagine how many times Bill Gates and the founders of Facebook heard how horrific it was for them to drop out of Harvard? There are always going to be these doubters, and they're going to tell you that you're crazy. You have to understand this is a big battle. You are meant to do this. You are going to do this. And if you're working with us, I'm going to be right by your side every step of the way, no matter how many steps it takes, no matter how many walls we have to break through. Let's get ready for battle. Let's get ready for the journey. I wish you all success.
Thank you, Fred. I appreciate it. Well, I will let you go get back to everything, and I'm going to just finish out and make sure that everybody knows where we're going to be next. Again, guys, Fred's here I should say we have a variety of experts that are here on Fridays. So sometimes we get to borrow Fred and sometimes we have other experts in.
Well, I used to be here every Friday only because I was the only one. Now
we have expanded the team. So we have, last week we did a show, if you guys haven't watched it, about Wes Cross, who's on our team that designed the Batmobile. We have all kinds of experts for you guys. So thank you, Fred. We'll see you next Friday, hopefully. At least maybe pop in. And then, so guys, if you haven't already, please hit the reminder bell so that you'll get notified when we go live. We also have text reminders that go out. I will say, Shelly, I just saw your message too, that you said that you're working harder than you ever have before, and it's lonely. I feel like that was a lot of what Fred was describing on you being the primary, you're having to do it, but then you do have everything launching for your business. And I actually saw your comment on that, and you're getting close to launch, and would appreciate all the IdeaPros fans and more news coming on that, guys. And so as we launch these partners who are coming out with their products and apps, we will be interviewing them on our weekly page for IdeaPros. So maybe not on this live, but we'll be dispersing those. So please, please, please show love and appreciation. We appreciate you guys showing support for all of our partners out there. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you being here every Friday. I know we have some people over on YouTube and Facebook. So don't forget, noon on Fridays. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Bye.